Let's be together forever. Was it back in middle school? During the prime of our youth, we truly believed in forever. I am Jack. Now, I'm already 30 years old. I gently place my suntanned hand on my wife's cheek. Then, a cool and cold sensation shivered through my skin. The really good people always seem to pass away too soon. Numerous lilies were prepared for my beloved wife, Lily. Their overly sweet scent made my head spin. We had been married for just about 3 years. Our life was settling down, and we were just starting to talk about having kids. We had a habit of jogging together every morning. That day, I overslept, and Lily left the house first. "I'll get too far ahead if you dawdle," she said as she closed the door. I can still clearly hear her voice in my ears. Why didn't I stop her? I should have asked her to wait until I was ready. Just after she left the house, Lily was hit by a car driven by a drowsy driver. She was rushed to the hospital, but it seems she died almost instantly. She will never wake up again. Lily is dead. She looks so beautiful and just sleeping in her coffin. We were childhood friends, doing everything together since we were kids. Lily, always so spirited, dragged me all over town as our playground. In middle school, it was Lily who turned our friendship into a romantic relationship. Our relationship lasted for 15 years. We didn't know that forever could suddenly end one day. Don't overthink it. With a pale face, I stood there as the attendees spoke to me. Words of empathy and sorrow from the heart. Yet, even those felt like a nuisance. How many kids do you want? Lily often talked about the future like that, probably wishing we had married earlier. But she never rushed me, the dreamer, and supported me from the closest place. We had just become husband and wife. It was supposed to be the beginning. How should I live now? I don't know a world without Lily. Since then, I've just been working non-stop. It's already the 2020s. No one says can you fight 24 hours anymore, but I have nothing else but to immerse myself in work. If I stop for a moment, the unbearable reality hits me like a wave. Naturally, I quickly wore out my body and visibly lost weight. Only my eyes shone brightly, and in the mirror, I looked almost like a beast. How should I live? This question has been running through my head since the funeral. Maybe there's no answer. I continue to punish myself day after day. Then, one day, today, my body feels heavier than usual. Thinking of getting some fresh air, I slowly stood up. At that moment, everything went dark, and I collapsed. "Jack, are you okay?" "Hey, Jack." I hear my boss's voice from afar. But I don't have the strength to respond. Maybe it's not so bad to go to Lily. Thinking such thoughts, I passed out. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. Where am I? Reacting to my voice, the white curtains around me were swiftly opened. "Did you sleep well?" said a kindly old man. "He is probably a doctor at this hospital. It seems you've been quite exhausted." "Yes, but I need to get back to work." As I tried to get up, the doctor raised his hand in a gesture of caution. "You shouldn't overdo it at a time like this." Lying in bed, I listened to the doctor's words. "It seems I need a long rest." I felt something akin to despair. If I don't immerse myself in work, I'll have to face what I don't want to think about. It's not that the doctor is wrong. But please, don't ask me to do something unreasonable. After a while of resting, I went straight home. Facing the empty room, I whispered softly, "I'm home." The words vanished into the air like smoke. Resting, but what should I do? Rubbing my chin where a bruise had formed, I threw myself onto the sofa. Then, I noticed the bookshelf in the living room. There were the historical novels and fashion magazines I loved to read, and Lily's favorite books with stylish covers lined up tightly. Among them was one book that somehow caught my interest. I got up from the sofa and picked it up. Complete Guide to Hawaii. That's right. We had planned to go to Hawaii during this year's Christmas holidays. The cover depicted a deep blue sea. A book forgotten as if it had lost all its value. Feeling sorry for it, I brought it to the bedroom and started to read it while lying down. Sparkling sandy beaches and water surfaces that seemed to melt into the sky. Hawaii might not be bad. I took out my cell phone and opened a flight booking website. At this time of the year, just before the summer vacation rush, it seemed quite easy to get a flight. I booked a ticket for one, leaving tomorrow, and then fell asleep. I'll book a hotel when I wake up tomorrow. Well, it'll work out somehow. The moment I landed in Honolulu, I regretted it. I should have worn short sleeves. I had worn a long-sleeve t-shirt that was hanging in my room. I completely forgot about Hawaii's heat. I managed to book a hotel, so first, it's time to eat. I entered the first diner I saw and opened the menu. I ordered a glass of beer and a classic loco moco. As I wiped my hands with a wet towel, I looked around to see happy couples everywhere. I want a bite of that, a young woman was playfully asking her boyfriend. Would Lily have acted that way if she were here? After filling my stomach, I walked along the Kalakaua Avenue. But no matter what I saw, all I could think about was Lily. Lily this, Lily that, if Lily were here. Even though I came on a trip, my heart remained heavy. I even found myself hating this blue sky. How should I live? Once again, I started pondering this unanswerable question. In the evening, I sat on the beach with a soda in hand. This sky turned a fantastical color, like a painting. It's called the magic hour. I remember Lily once told me that. As I gazed at the dream-like beautiful scenery, tears began to fill my eyes. But if I'm going to cry, it's better to do so while looking at something beautiful. I wiped my tears with my arm and gazed back at the view. That's when it happened. A black hat tumbled in front of me. A bucket hat, was it? Lily had wanted one too. I picked it up and looked around for its owner. Then, excuse me, I heard a voice from behind and turned around. And then, I was struck as if by lightning. There she was, standing right there. No, it wasn't Lily. Her hairstyle was different, and she was much shorter than Lily. But she looked so much like her. Holding the hat, I was speechless as I stared at the girl's face. Then, she too looked startled. You can't be. She covered her mouth with both hands and stood frozen in shock. We stared at each other, frozen in place. You are. As I began to speak, a man's voice called from a distance. Hey, Emily. Hearing that, the girl seemed to snap back to reality, snatching her hat from me. She bowed quickly and ran off in a hurry. I watched her retreating back. Who was that? Lily had no sister. Then why did she look so much like her? Before I knew it, my tears had completely dried up. Maybe it was just a hallucination, my brain creating images of Lily. Forcing myself to accept that, I headed back to the hotel dejectedly. The next morning, I went straight to the beach after waking up. The early morning sea was refreshing. Standing in the water up to my waist, wearing my clothes, I felt the cool breeze. Memories of the years Lily and I spent together came flooding back. She was always my biggest fan and supporter. Where do abandoned dreams go? Will I forget them someday? As if to shake off those thoughts, I took a deep breath and dived under the water. Even if today is a bad day, tomorrow can surely be a good one. That was Lily's favorite saying. Hey Lily, it's been a while, but no good days have come. I wanted to be with you forever. It was a short trip to Hawaii. While waiting for my luggage, I looked at the photos I had taken on my cell phone. I wished I could have shown them to Lily. After a while, my luggage arrived. Then, I heard a familiar voice. "Hey, Emily." It was the same voice that had called out to the girl on the beach. I looked in the direction of the voice and saw a familiar black hat. Our eyes met Lily's look-alike. She was on the same flight. I hadn't noticed at all. Such a coincidence, I thought, when... "Hey, isn't that you, Jack?" The man who had been with the girl approached, calling my name. It seemed he was an acquaintance. As I racked my brain thinking, who was it again? The man approached with a smile. "Jack, were you on a trip too?" "Yeah, well, it's good to see you've cheered up a bit." At that moment, I remembered seeing this man somewhere. The place was Lily's funeral. His name, if I remember correctly, was Joseph. He was a distant relative of Lily's. Then, this girl must be. "Don't be shy, Emily. Come here and say hello." The girl, who had been watching from a distance, slowly came over. Even up close, she looked just like Lily. I couldn't help but keep my eyes on the girl's face, wondering if it was rude. "Jack, this is my daughter, Emily. She's in middle school and a bit shy around new people." Emily glanced at me, then shyly lowered her gaze and gave a small nod. I turned to her father and asked a question. "If you don't mind me asking, is Emily related to Lily by blood?" It was a bit of a forward question, but he answered with a smile. "Oh yes, they are related. I believe Lily's mother's cousin's daughter or something. A distant connection, but definitely there. It seems they are related, though distantly. To think they could resemble each other so much." I ended up having a great conversation with Joseph, Emily's father, and we exchanged phone numbers. We even found a common interest in historical novels and agreed to visit his house to see his collection. "See you another day," he said, as we parted, and Emily didn't look at me the entire time. It was a bit shocking, but she's at a sensitive age, so there must be a lot on her mind. Well, time to go. Back to reality tomorrow. Let's go home. Back to that dark room. A few weeks later, on a Sunday, I was invited to Joseph's house. After driving for about an hour, the navigation system announced my arrival. "Welcome, come on in." A house in the suburbs. Joseph ushered me in, and the interior was neatly organized. Wow, this is amazing. His prized bookshelf was filled with a vast collection of historical novels. "This is just a part of my collection." "Well, that's incredible." Then, I heard the front door open. "Dad, I'm home." "Who's visiting?" Emily, apparently returning from an extracurricular activity, entered the room. Hello, Emily." I greeted her, but she quickly averted her eyes and left the room. "Emily, sorry, Jack. She seems to be nervous around you." "No worries at all." Then I noticed a photo frame displayed nearby. A young Emily, Joseph, and a boy with a woman around Joseph's age. "Oh, this is my late wife and son." He picked up the photo frame, and the siblings looked so much like him. His wife, too, had an aura similar to Joseph's, probably from years of being together. Emily was just in elementary school when they had an accident. An accident, huh? Just like Lily. That's why, I understand what it's like to lose someone important. Even if you love them, even if you care for them, goodbyes always come suddenly. Then we talked about the loved ones we've lost, comforting each other in our shared pain. Occasionally picking up a historical novel. Since then, I've started to visit their house more often. However, Emily continues to avoid me. One day, when I pressed the doorbell, it wasn't Joseph who answered, but Emily. Dad's gone to buy coffee. Please, come in." Saying this, Emily opened the door, her gaze downcast. Her expression and even her voice were so much like Lily's. But I shouldn't stare too much. I don't want to be disliked even more. Emily led me to Joseph's room. Then, a familiar word from the living room caught my ear. "It's decided." Nose riding. I couldn't help but peek into the open living room, and there I was on the TV. A surfing competition from a few years ago. Back when I was still chasing my dream. Yes, I was a surfer, a regular at world competitions. "Were you watching this?" Emily, with a panicked look, turned off the TV with the remote. Emily, awkwardly looking down, remained silent. Her demeanor reminded me so much of Lily when she was downcast, it made me unconsciously soften my expression. "Do you like surfing?" When I asked, Emily nodded slightly. "Did you know about me?" After a moment of silence, she said. "I was so surprised to find out we were related. I used to watch your videos a lot, so I couldn't talk to you properly. So that was it." The question I had been wondering about was cleared up, and I felt a wave of relief. I wasn't disliked after all, which was really good to know. Suddenly, Emily, who had been looking down, lifted her face abruptly. Are you not going to compete anymore?" "No, I'm not," I replied with a powerless smile. "I only managed second place in this competition. Anything more is just out of my reach." The dream I had been chasing. The dream that Lily had watched with me. It was to win the world championship and become the world's #1 surfer. But Lily is no longer here. I don't need dreams anymore. But, sorry, I'm late." Joseph, seemingly just back from a run, hastily opened the door. Then Emily stopped speaking and abruptly returned to her room. She seemed like she wanted to say something, but I didn't have the courage to ask. But those words felt like they would stir the extinguished fire in my heart. The following week, I received a call on my cell phone. It was from Joseph. "Hello. Hey, are you free right now?" Before I could answer, Joseph started explaining. He and Emily were at a surf shop, looking for a beginner's board, and needed some advice. Surfing, for Emily. Yeah, she's been asking for a while, and she did well on her exams, so it's a reward. I had nothing else to do today, just lounging around at home. So, I decided to head to the shop where they were. "Man, I'm glad you're here, Jack. I had no clue what to get," Joseph said, laughing heartily. Next to him stood Emily, holding her newly bought board, looking delighted. It's been a while since I visited a shop, and I felt quite excited. As we were about to part ways, Emily stopped me. "Excuse me, if it's okay, could you teach me how to ride the waves sometime?" I was honestly confused. I had stopped surfing after Lily's absence. Riding the waves would surely bring back memories of Lily's smile. That was painful for me. "Of course, I won't ask for free. Learning from you, the best surfer. I don't know if my allowance will be enough, though." Emily looked almost tearful, desperately gazing into my eyes. "Okay, you've won me over with that determination. You don't need to pay me. How about next Sunday?" At that moment, Emily's face brightened. The best surfer, huh? While feeling a bit bitter, I parted ways with Joseph and Emily. The promised Sunday. A surfer's morning starts early. I went to pick up Emily at her house before 6 a.m. She was already waiting outside, eager. "Good morning," she said, bowing her head. It felt like a sports camp. Leaving Joseph to join us later, Emily and I headed to the beach. The weather was clear. The wind was gentle, and the waves were calm. The conditions weren't bad for a beginner. They weren't enough for me, but well, I'm not the one surfing. Emily, dressed in her wetsuit, was beaming, and that made me happy too. She's a quick learner, absorbing everything I taught her. Let's take a break for now. After spending some time in the sea, we went back to the car and ate sandwiches we'd bought on the way. Emily seemed to be getting more comfortable with me, starting to share things about herself. She talked about school, her extracurricular activity, her friends, and how she got into surfing. Surfing. My brother loved it. He used to watch your competition videos a lot. Emily was very close to her late brother, and her stories of him were tinged with sadness. Maybe it's rude to ask, but what was Lily like? Lily was. This sea breeze caressed my face. I remember talking like this on days with weather like this. Lily was my everything. More important than anything else, even more than surfing. I felt a twinge in my nose. I thought I had cried all the tears I had, but apparently there were still more. Are you really done competing? Such a straightforward question from a middle schooler. I, now a cunning adult, just smiled ambiguously to dodge the question. After lunch, with Joseph watching over us, Emily and I enjoyed the sea for a while longer. Since then, I've been to the beach several times with Emily and Joseph, carrying our boards. Emily had a great knack for surfing, improving interestingly fast. Each visit to the sea, I felt something stirring inside me. But I pretended not to notice. Passion, dreams, I thought I didn't need them anymore. Then, one day, "Jack, did you see that?" "Yeah, I saw it. Great job." Emily was attempting tricks that even intermediate surfers struggled with. I was amazed at how good she had become. "Now it's your turn, Jack." "All right, watch this." I caught a wave and stood up on my board. But then, maybe due to fatigue, my vision blurred. For a moment, I lost strength in my legs and nearly fell off the board. That's when it happened. "Go, Jack, don't give up," Emily's cheering echoed in my ears. I regained my balance and executed the move. Or at least I thought I did. But I slipped off the board and crashed into the water. I showed a bad side of me there. My training lapse had clearly weakened my stamina. I flopped down next to Emily sitting down on the sand. "Damn, that's frustrating," I said, trying to lighten the mood, and Emily responded, "Don't worry, Jack, even if today was a bad day." My heart skipped a beat. Those words were, "Tomorrow will surely be okay, Jack. You are a hero to surfing fans." Those were Lily's words. Words she had said to me dozens, hundreds of times. Unable to say anything, I just stared at the sand at my feet. How should I live? A question that had been on my mind ever since Lily was gone. I knew there probably wouldn't be an answer. But still. Yeah, tomorrow will surely be okay. I stood up abruptly and dived into the sea. My overflowing tears blended with the water, becoming one with the sea. "Hey Lily, I don't think I'm ready to move on yet. But I want to be okay, little by little, tomorrow, and in a year, in 10 years. I want to live a life that wouldn't embarrass Lily. I want to show a cool side of myself to Emily, who has become like a sister to me, someone who shares Lily's words with me. Can I dream again?" As I floated, carried by the waves, I asked this question to the sky. Several years later. "It's all thanks to you, Jack. To think we could see such a view," Joseph said, his eyes moist, as he watched his daughter laugh on the podium. In Emily's arms was a photo of her mother and brother. Since then, Emily had improved remarkably and was now competing for medals in junior tournaments. The medal shining on her chest was silver. Her challenges would probably continue. It's all because Emily worked hard. She resembled my dear wife so much, my sister in arms. When I first met her at the sea in Hawaii, I never imagined things would turn out this way. How should I live, continuing to share in Emily's dreams? That kind of life would be nice. But as for me, come on, Jack, it's almost time for your award ceremony. I'm on my way. I was close, but not quite there for the championship. However, I can still do it. The dream Lily and I watched together. I will make it come true someday. So watch over me, Lily. I will continue to live with my dreams.